Fire's lit, mics are on, and the NBA season is underway. That means it's time for the debut episode of The Modern Flame, brought to you by NBA Campfire. It's hot.
It's hot.
I'm free. I had to wear a jean jacket. I'm so cold in my house right now. I'm assuming same weather up where you are, getting to be that time of year. 40 degrees, windy.
It's freezing in upstate New York, but the NBA is on fire right now.
Always is.
Always.
I think we have to start. So our debut episode. I think we have to start with Wemby watch, and this is probably something that we're going to be keeping an eye on throughout the year because I think big picture NBA, this is probably the most consequential storyline that we could be following, simply because not only is Victor Wembanyama probably going to be the face of the NBA within 18 to 24 months. But he has a chance to go down. I don't think it's premature to say that he could go down as, if healthy, one of the all-time defining, iconic, pantheon level players. I don't think it's too early to say that.
No, it's not, because those players are all very unique and share, unique skill sets, and that's exactly what he is. If Kristaps is a unicorn, I don't know what Wemby is. Before the season, Windhorse was talking about how he was actually closer to 7'6", 7'7" than his listed 7'3", and to hear that and then to watch him play and to see all the different types of skills that he brings to the table, it's just incredible. And through this year, the Spurs have gotten off to a really hot start, and it's a lot of it because of him. And shout out to us, huh? Both of us had him picked as MVP candidate. That he was our picks. I don't think a lot of people had that. I think we were a year early, but we're looking good.
Yeah, we were definitely a year early. I mean, everyone is high on Victor Wembanyama. That goes without saying. But to make the jump from second year, no playoffs, playing about 40 games, to MVP, that even for Wemby, that's a huge step forward.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, he has big-ass feet and long-ass strides and could maybe be the one guy who is equipped to make that kind of leap in such a short amount of time. But yeah, I'll be honest, it surprised me that you picked Wembanyama to win MVP. I thought I was going to be alone on that corner. And if anyone is watching here and you don't believe us, you could check out our Instagram. You could check out Later Named, my website. Our predictions were up before the season began. We both had Wembanyama Defensive Player of the Year. We had Wembanyama MVP. And you had the Spurs a 3 seed in the West. I had him as a 4 seed in the West.
Yeah.
And, we're still early in the year. The Spurs have played 6 games. But assuming he's able to stay healthy all year long, I don't think we're going to be too far off of what we predicted. I think there's not only reason for optimism with him, but the entire team that's been built around him. I've been pleasantly surprised by how a lot of those guys have come along alongside of him.
Absolutely. I think that, people forget about, like, was it Vessel? I'm probably saying it wrong.
Devin Vassell? Yeah.
Vassell. Obviously, Castle was Rookie of the Year last year. They bring in, Harper as a second, pick in the draft. The team is built for success, and we're without De'Aaron Fox. They also brought in Cornette from the Celtics. Old Harrison Barnes is still, kicking it. He's a good vet to have, though.
Yeah.
What I've been really impressed with, and I think that it's going to lead to a lot of wins, is Victor's idea of he's going to stop shooting as many threes as he did previously. And his three-point percentage is actually even down this year than it has over his career. He's shooting about 34% on his career. He's shooting just about 29% this year. But he's taking almost 6 less threes. And he's averaging almost 9 more points a game. And a lot of that is just the idea of, his base is finally where it needs to be, where he's not just getting pushed off his spot every single time he's, going to the basket. And it just, his ability to change the game in a lot of different ways is truly just incredible. It's awesome to watch. I think this Spurs team is built to be on a heater for a while. The only thing that kind of bums me out is I wish Pop was there. But, overall, Spurs have just been on an absolute heater. I know they just lost their last game, and Victor had a little bit of a clunker, but through 6 games, he looks absolutely unbelievable. He looks also like super passionate. After they won the 5th game, he was very emotional, very excited, he's going after it. Like, he doesn't want to wait a couple more years and let Joker and Steph and all SGA have their fun. He wants it right now, and that's how he's playing. And props to him. He's had an incredible start to the year. Hopefully he stays healthy, because it could be a lot of fun watching those guys play together.
That's actually, we could come up with 24 things that stand out about watching Victor Wembanyama, and over the course of the year we'll hit all of them. But I'm glad you brought up how much he cares, because to me that's like maybe the number one thing that I'm actually impressed by with him. He plays so goddamn hard.
Yeah.
He runs the floor as hard as any big I have seen in the league this year. He is sprinting back every play to get back in the paint defensively. He's sprinting down the floor trying to beat his own man when the Spurs are on a break. And your point about the 5th game of the year, it was Miami, I think you're talking about.
Yep.
There was a point late in that game when he goes to the basket and he gets hit hard by Andrew Wiggins. And it stuck out so much that I put it in our intro for Modern Flame. But he's on the ground and he sits up like the Undertaker. And he's just flexing and yelling. And I was like, that is exactly what I wanted to see from him.
Yeah.
The KG lessons that he got in the off season are paying off, because he's got that motherfucker in him now that I don't know that he had his first 2 years. But now it's like he is on the floor and he's like, I'm just going to demolish everyone. There's no one safe in my path. And he's playing like it.
That word safe is what got me, because I remember after the USA beat France in the Olympics, he used the term, soon enough, no one's going to be safe. And that's like his mindset, is he knows how special he is. Mm-hmm. He's working his tail off to get to that level of potential that he has, but now. And you talked about how he spent time with KG. He spent time with Hakeem this year.
I ate that shit up like catnip.
Absolutely.
You tell me a guy goes to Hakeem. I love Hakeem.
Yep.
I'm sure we've talked about this before.
Yep.
He's my favorite 90s guy, even over MJ. If you go to Hakeem, I'm perking up a little bit. The hair on my neck is standing up, and I know something good's coming.
And he also went and trained with the monks. He's doing out of.
I was pleased with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just everything about him just seems super intentional, and he wants to be the best basketball player he could be. And it's just really fun to see a young guy go all in on basketball. You don't see him in a lot of the commercials or doing a lot of the social media stuff, and that is fine. The social media stuff and go make your money, go create your brand, but he's not. He's solely focused, it seems like, on basketball, and it's been beautiful to watch. It's just scary to think that he's not even close to where he's going to end up.
He's scratching the surface, and both ends of the floor, I feel like he has gotten even better than he was last year.
Absolutely.
Especially offensively. The amount of strength that he plays with now compared to last year, you can't move him off his spot like you could last year.
Yep.
He was susceptible to being moved around a little bit, and there are a couple times in that opening game against Dallas where he put his body into Anthony Davis, who is not a small guy. And he came into this year even bulked up. Mm-hmm. And he kind of handled him.
Yeah, he moved him.
And it was startling to see. And the point you made earlier on was, he knows where his bread needs to be buttered. And the closer that you get him to the basket, the more dominant he's going to be. And I heard a really good stat a couple days ago where last year his average shot distance, I think, was around 19 feet. And so far this year, it's at 11.
Yeah.
So you just get him closer to the basket and sprinkle in those threes now and then and let him space the floor, because that's an asset that you shouldn't just ignore.
No.
But get him playing closer to the basket. Really let him dominate. That you can't, there's nothing you could do with him around the basket. He has a nice shooting touch. His offensive skill set, he's adding more to it. And as he gets stronger and gets even more polished, he's going to be a nightmare to have to deal with. And then defensively, I just have never seen anything like him defensively.
That's what I was going to say. My last comment on Wemby was you hit on the offense and how good he is and how great he could be. It's not even his best part of his game.
No.
He's the most impactful defender I don't want to go that far maybe, but yeah, he's very impactful on defense. And
I'll go that far.
Yeah.
He's the best defensive big I have ever seen. And that's not a shot at Hakeem or whoever else you want to throw in there. It's just he's 7'7" and his hands are huge and his arms are a mile long and he gives a shit and he's mobile and he is smart.
Watching the Dallas game specifically, I watched that game closely, just obviously first game of the year, and I was interested in see what the Mavs had to offer this year. They were getting decent drives to the basket. If he was even close to the paint, they weren't even looking at the rim. They'd get to the basket, and then they would just kick it out, because it's a turnover. It's a turnover.
And here's the thing: he's mastered the someone drives and they get into the paint. And we can't shoot it over him. But now I'm so deep in the paint where if I try to throw a pass, he's getting a hand on it.
Yep.
He completely changes the way that you have to play.
Absolutely.
The paint is off limits.
Yep. Yeah. No, 100%.
props to the Spurs because they recognize this, and those young perimeter defenders that they have, Castle and Harper and Vassell and Keldon Johnson, they're just like pit bulls out there. They're taking risks, and they know we could get away with it because if we happen to get burnt, we got the best interior defender in the league behind us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know that we called Wemby, we called the Spurs. I don't think many other people did. I also don't think many other people had any idea what the East was going to be this year. But like, what is going on in the East?
It's weird, man. I mean, we touted ourselves for getting Wembanyama right, but we had Orlando third in the East. We had Atlanta fourth in the East. Neither of those look great. Now, what I will say is, because it's the Eastern Conference, and because I don't know that we could totally trust teams like Chicago or Philadelphia, maybe, Orlando could round into shape, and they could still end up having the third best record in the Eastern Conference. We're 2 weeks into the season. But, they're the team that I'm looking at because we both picked Paolo for third team All-NBA.
Yep.
He hasn't looked any better. They brought in Desmond Bane. Their offense hasn't looked any better, and he's shooting, like, I think 26% from three-point range so far this year. This team that has just struggled for a decade and a half to have a league average offense, they still don't.
Yeah.
And this needed to be the year that they made that leap, because without Tatum, without Halliburton, this was the year where they were going to be able to ascend into that next level. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it this year. What I do like is that Wagner and Paolo are averaging 46 points per game so far this year, and 16 combined free throw attempts per game. I like that they're getting to the free throw line. They're a physical team. They can't shoot, so muck the game up, slow the game down. They need to trend back up defensively because they're not where they have been the last couple years, but that's my Magic rant. I just am very surprised by how the season has started for them.
Yeah, and you talked about their defense there at the end, and that's kind of something that, like, you expected them to just continue to have a great defense because they did the year before, and they haven't really, made that many roster changes. Obviously.
And, like, Bane is a league average defender.
Right.
You figure if you get Jalen Suggs back, like, that helps you at the point of attack.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they should remain one of the best defenses in the league. It just, through 7 games or 6 games, whatever it's been, it just hasn't been the case.
It just hasn't worked out. And there was a team that I thought was going to mesh a little bit earlier than they obviously have, just because of the familiarity that they've had with their roster. One thing when watching Paolo is I would almost want him to go even more into attack mode.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like he pulls up for like 15-footers, and I know that's his game and he likes to get into his bag and his pull up, but take another dribble and get to the rim. You're 6'10", 260 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
If he could get a jump shot that's, around league average, obviously that sets him apart, but it's not there yet. And it's like they're just shooting their way through the pain, and it's like, I just don't know if you're ever going to get there. So go to your strengths. They need Bane to start shooting a little bit better because they do need, some sort of outside shooting. And I think Wendell Carter needs to shoot a little bit better too. Obviously, you don't want your center to be, one of your key spacers, but I think when they get Suggs back playing bigger minutes, he's on a little bit of a restriction right now. You'll see the defense go and improve. And I'm also I'm a sucker for Mo Wagner, should be coming back from ACL, and he should provide a little bit of a spark. I'm disappointed in them, like you said. Though we're early on, they could bounce back into form. I'm also a little disappointed in the Hawks.
That
Just
was my
because
next
I
team.
love their off season. I was a sucker for their off season, bringing in obviously Kristaps and um, a bunch of other really good key role players too.
Nikhil Alexander
Well,
Walker was one of them. I
yep,
think Kennard. This is his
Kennard
first year
was one of
there.
them. Yep. But then they also get Jalen Johnson back from injury too. So you got Trey Young with Porzingis and Jalen Johnson and Daniels. It's a really good young group that I thought would be super athletic and super fun to watch. And their offense have kind of just been stagnant overall. Their defense has been horrible. They've given up about 121 points, to the opposing team, and their offensive scoring rating has been down. Now, obviously, Trey Young got hurt, but I took those notes before Trey Young even went down. So interested to see how they bounce back with the Trey Young injury. But they have the talent. It's the East. The East is weak. Um, I would like to see them, get on a little bit of heater. But I just don't know with Trey being out where that comes from.
I mean, the problem too is even when Trey was playing, he was shooting 37% from the field. He got off to a slow start this year. From what I saw, it didn't look like, and he's never been and will never be a good defensive player, but it just seemed like his effort level, even compared to last year, dipped a little bit. And I just think it's problematic that Jalen Johnson is like the only bright spot for this roster through 7 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's back to his 2024-25 form. He's right around 20 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists per game. But, like, Porzingis isn't giving much. Risache, who had some flashes during his rookie year, he's only averaging 9 points per game this year. It kind of seems like he's lost in the rotation early on. I mean, Nikhil Alexander Walker, he's a fine rotation player, but I feel like, he's third on the team in field goal attempts so far this year. Daniels is a limited offensive player. If Trey, and obviously now he's going to be out probably about a month.
Yep.
But like if he's not that 22 and 11 assist guy, this team is just they're going to end up being a disappointment like they have been the last couple years, even when he has been playing at that level. But I expected him to play at that level. I had him on third team All-NBA when we made our preseason predictions. I thought that this was going to be a good team. I like their coach. I thought that they put together a pretty decent offseason, but it hasn't clicked so far. If they manage to weather the storm without Trey and just hang around 500, who knows? Maybe they round into shape later in the season. But, yeah, I mean, them and Orlando to me are the two biggest disappointments. New York and Cleveland, like, they're not off to the kind of starts that I think a lot of people expected, but I'm not too worried about either of those two teams yet. Cleveland's playing without Garland. They're playing without Max Strus. Jarrett Allen's missed the last 2 games. They're working Lonzo in. They're trying to get guys like Jalen Tyson, really acclimated with the rotation when he wasn't last year. I was hoping to see a little more from Evan Mobley early on. But I'm just not going to worry about them. And the Knicks, too, like, new coach. They're playing more of their bench. They're trying to figure all this out in the post-Tibbs world. I think it's too early, though, to to press the panic button for either of those two teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And I'll just kind of give a rundown of where the East is currently through, November 3rd. We're recording at this point. So we got the Sixers are 5-1, Chicago 5-1 behind Josh Giddey, who is just. I was thinking this the other day, was not a good fit for OKC.
I'm going to take a victory lap on Josh Giddey because that was a trade that I felt right away was a win-win for both Chicago and Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
The Thunder needed a guy like Caruso.
Yep.
But Giddey, there was just too much overlap with him and Shea where they both needed the ball too much. But I always thought that he could be like a 20.8 rebound, 8 assist guy. I'm very happy to see it all coming to fruition because I've always liked him.
Yeah, no, I it's crazy. Like Presti hit on him too. It's just I mean, it didn't work for OKC. Obviously, they turned it into pieces of a championship team. But anyway, Chicago's 5-1. Giddey's playing unbelievable. And then you got the Bucks. Giannis is leading the league in scoring. He's just really taking his do-it-your-all kit out and just going to town. And the Pistons.
One quick thing on the Bucks, though, they're getting more from that supporting cast than I thought they were going to. Ryan Rollins being an 18-point-per-game guy, and again, early, but that's kind of a revelation.
Yeah.
They're getting good minutes off the bench from Cole Anthony, Bobby Portis, and Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma's been resuscitated and is actually giving them
shaved his hair.
Decent minute. Yeah, they get a fresh cut and he's ready to go.
That's right.
And AJ Green just shoots 1,000,000% from the field every game. It seems like they're a team to me where if Giannis can stay healthy and they could even get 90% of what they're getting from their non-Giannis guys the rest of the year, are we prepared to rule out Milwaukee as a Eastern Conference champion contender? They have the best player in the conference.
Absolutely. And I think maybe even more importantly than that, I think getting off to even, this kind of a start, if they could keep this up for the next month, just quiets everything down. I mean, 2 weeks ago, it was basically Giannis wants out and he'll end up on the Knicks by some point. And those talks have quieted down. So, really strong start by the role players helping Giannis. And then obviously Giannis is the best player in the conference and he's playing like it. You mentioned Cleveland. They're 4-3 sitting at the fifth seed. And then you have the Heat, who have restructured their offense to go away from ball screens. And they're playing at a completely different level on the offensive end. Really fun to watch, which Miami over the last couple of years was not really a fun team to watch. And then the Knicks are 7. The Raptors at 3-4 are 8. And then you got our Hawks and Magic 9 and 10. But then you peep up to the top of the standings here, and you got the 76ers. Which brings me to our rookie watch. VJ Edgecombe just absolutely had an incredible 2 weeks to start the season. I don't really know if the Sixers even expected this, but I do really respect the fact that they're all in on really their young guards, and they have...
And they should be.
Absolutely.
They are 100, and I know you agree, they are 100% making the right decision to pivot from the Embiid era and let the Maxey Edgecombe era come into its own. Those two are just electric.
Absolutely.
I love watching Philadelphia. Maxey, to me, just feels... He's like must-watch basketball through the first 2 weeks of the year. I think that there is a world where he could end up being not as dominant, but a more likable star in Philadelphia than Embiid ever was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, also his style of play. I think it translates a little bit more. Embiid sometimes could just be a ball stopper. It could get ugly to watch. He goes to the free throw line a lot. And Edgecombe is just straight, electric. Just a bunch of energy when you watch him play. He plays so hard, and then from his draft, he's a good kid. You could see that he's a good kid who is about the right things. Couple other really strong starts to rookie campaigns. I think Dylan Harper is fit in a little bit nicer than I anticipated with the Spurs. And then Cedric Coward, which I don't really think many people are looking at him, but he is a strong player for Memphis. Only reason why I know him is because he actually was going to go to Duke. He transferred to Duke, but stayed in the draft after he got high ranks. And I know he's in like the top 4 in DraftKings for Rookie of the Year watch. So those 3. And then Coop, obviously, not off to the best start. I think his plus minus is like minus 69 through 6 games. I don't think that is all to do with him. That Mavs team is horrendously structured, and the idea that they were going to play a 6'9" forward at point guard who really never played point guard before, even at Duke, I don't understand why they did that. I actually am interested to see how he plays without AD. AD is currently out with a Achilles/calf issue. So I'm interested to see if maybe them going to more of a one big lineup will spread the floor a little bit for him, and will help him get going.
I'm not worried at all about Cooper Flagg. I think that is a really weird situation, not only the way that the team is constructed, but the fact that there's still the lingering Luka hangover where, it's their second game of the year and there are Fire Nico chants going on at the game. Like that's just not a good situation for a rookie to walk into. He's going to be fine. And I, like you, am interested in seeing what it looks like when AD's not on the floor. And potentially, if it looks good, would Dallas consider moving AD? Just something to maybe keep an eye on. If you want to go full youth movement and you don't think... that'd be... I guess you'd have to look at that as admitting defeat on the Luka trade pretty quick, but I don't know. I'm just throwing shit up against the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he'll be fine. Harper, he's just really smooth. He reminds me of James Harden, like young Harden. There's just like a smoothness when they have the ball in their hands and they're attacking the basket and, crafty finishing around the rim. I like him a lot. Another Dookie, Con Knipple. In the limited that I've seen of him, I try to stay away from Charlotte.
Shooting the leather off it.
He's playing really well, which doesn't surprise me. I thought that he was going to walk in and be a pretty solid role player right away. But yeah, really fun rookie class. I think that Edgecombe is the source of the most excitement right now. And if Philadelphia continues winning games and he kind of slots into that number 2 role behind Maxey, I would say it's his rookie of the year to lose.
Absolutely. Especially just playing in the East. And it just seems like, he's probably the one who's built for success with the structure of the team and the way that they're playing out of all of the rookies. And his team's also, having success too, which always helps. So, yeah, I think it's been a solid couple of weeks for the rookies. We are talking about how, you have Victor Wembanyama, you have this rookie class, and then next year's rookie class is supposed to be loaded too. So the NBA has a very bright future ahead of it. But before we get out of here, I just real quick, what so far? What are your top league pass teams?
I am watching every Spurs game,
Mm-hmm.
and I imagine that will be the case for the next, hopefully, decade and a half with Wembanyama. You got to watch every Nuggets game just because of Jokic. I've loved watching the Warriors this year. I think we need to reconsider their championship equity. I think that this is actually a way better team than I gave them credit for going into the year. I love the way that Kuminga is playing. That's been a
Mm-hmm.
pleasant surprise.
Yep.
It seems like he's finally grasping the intricacies of that
Playing with
Steve
the
Kerr,
Warriors.
yeah,
Yep.
that Steve Kerr offense. And then, we don't know how much longer we have Steph for. I think you got to soak up Stephen Curry as much as you can. And off to a really good start to start the year. So yeah, those are my three teams that are like non-negotiables I have to watch. Miami's been fun. I like that they've gone from 28th in pace to first this year. Philadelphia, like I said, Maxey, he's been a joy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then if the Timberwolves are wearing their black alternate early 2000s uniforms, that to me is like must-watch basketball.
All good picks. It's funny. You said who is watching Charlotte Hornets basketball. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker for Eric Collins. In League Pass, you get all of the like the team announcers, and he is one of the best like play-by-play announcers in the game. Super energetic. I don't know why I watch the Hornets, but I do, and a part of it is because of the announcer. I don't know where that leaves me.
So here's the
but
thing. There was a time, probably about 10 years ago now we're looking at, where when the Hornets had Kemba and Al Jefferson, they were my go-to 7 p.m. League
Mhm.
Pass team.
Absolutely.
I can't do LaMelo.
I don't like LaMelo either. But yeah,
I'm with you though. On the broadcast, I like the uniforms.
Yep.
I want to watch Con Knipple.
Yep.
I just LaMelo. I'm
Well, he
never
didn't
going
play
to be
last
a
game,
LaMelo
and I
guy.
think they scored like 140 points. So I don't know where if that paints the story. Um, so I got Charlotte. I also I've just been absolutely adoring Luka Doncic this year.
Oh, sure.
And even when he wasn't out, like Austin Reeves, the Lakers have been really fun to watch this year. And then, like you, I'm a sucker for Steph. It's just you never know if you're going to tune in and see something that you've never seen before. And then, obviously, Wemby, so the Spurs. So those are my four. There's a lot of other ones that I find myself watching, but those were the four that I have to watch. I don't know why it's Charlotte. I every time I'm watching Charlotte, I'm like, why am I watching this? But I don't.
I feel like everyone has that one team though,
Yep.
where you end up watching way more of them than you anticipated that you were going to.
Yeah.
I don't know who that team's going to be for me this year. I do feel like I've watched every Bulls game. If they end up petering out, maybe they'll end up being the team that is 30 wins, and I ended up watching 60 of their games.
Absolutely. But overall, I think it's been an awesome 2 weeks to the season. Super excited that we were able to focus on court, and there's been a lot of on court success. There's been some off the court storylines that
Problems?
yeah.
Problems, storylines.
Yeah, we'll get to those if we feel like we need to, but we want to keep this on the court, and we want to just really share the beauty of what's going on right now. So overall, super excited for what's to come. I think the league is set up for an awesome year. Can't wait to cover it with you.
I agree, my man. Likewise. We're finding our footing with Modern Flame here. If you made it this far, you owe us a follow. That's campfire etiquette. Gotta follow us. Keep watching all season long. We've got NBA Campfire. We've got Modern Flame. We're going to be covering the past, the present. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. The marshmallow's ready.
Yes, I fed her.
Do your damn job. That's right. That's right.